Are you reading anything right now? Do you like to read? Are you a reader?
I do. I'm reading right now The Wisdom of Florence Schivel.
Oh, so you're a deep reader. No, I was going to suggest Kristen Hanna's The Women.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my God. Yesterday was the day of Sarah Baldwin. I went through your whole catalog, which is
Oh,
amazing, by the way. Congratulations. A lot of your music and a lot of your look and your vibe is really kind of mystical. Is that, do you think that that's a fair assessment?
well, that's awesome to hear. I don't know necessarily if I'm trying to go after a certain look. It's more of a feel. I'm kind of
Mm.
adapting to my environment right now. I live in the middle of the mountains and the desert, so I'm really close to nature and I like functional things. But I do spend a lot of time alone, so maybe that's where you're getting the mystical vibe.
Yes. Well, I got to tell you, your videos are absolutely beautiful. I mean, you really are one with nature, and I really appreciated that.
I have some really amazing people that I've had the pleasure and honor to work with. So it's been an amazing, beautiful ride.
I really liked that video, No Turning Back. It was really lush. Parts of it.
Thank you. My best friend who is dancing in the video, when I first met her and we were just vibing off each other, and she's always been like my biggest supporter in music. She knew all the words to my songs. Like I put something on and she knew all the words. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know all the words to my songs. A long time ago, I told her, I'm like, one day I want to shoot a video and I want you to dance in it and I want to have fire dancers. And I just like planted that seed a long, long time ago because I love that tribal vibe, really. I love Middle Eastern music too and the drums, and I'm influenced by like that earthy fire dancing kind of, not so much Burning Man, but like I guess you could say Mad Max kind of gritty,
Mhm.
earthy stuff. Yeah.
Well, I was really drawn to that video because I was raised Polynesian and fire knife dancing was huge in my culture along with drums. And
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so that's interesting that you would say that you had more of a Middle Eastern touch to it because I was drawn to it because of my Polynesian roots. That's what's so beautiful about music, right? Is that we can just, you put something out there and then someone would, they enjoy it, but they're also feeling something different from it. So I wanted to talk about Fight for My Life. It's about addiction. I noticed that a lot of your songs, you're not afraid to take on heavy themes.
I'm not. I've faced those things within myself and with people I'm surrounded by.
So you're really not afraid to take on kind of heavy themes in your music.
Yeah, it's my way of expressing subjects that are not so easy to talk about, but are very real within all of us. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but for myself, thoughts have ran through my mind. And when I was an addict and really deep in my addiction and alcohol and drugs, the voices in my head were just creating these stories about how the world was. And, there was a lot of close calls there. And I'm just grateful that I have the opportunity now as sober, working musician with like working with amazing musicians that are helping me be okay with talking about it, and talking to them like they've had the same thoughts or they know someone very close. And so once you start talking about it and you open up and let people be comfortable in that space, you realize that it affects more people than we talk about. I think it's important to get out. And Trigger was really, really difficult for me to get through the words in the studio. I actually had to break it up line by line because I was just so emotionally attached to the trauma that I experienced. And I think it was because I was realizing what the pain would have been like for my family if I would
Mm.
have followed through
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
not been so lucky to talk about it, and working with those musicians really, really like helped me embrace that pain and turn it into something beautiful.
So I'm in recovery. I'm an alcoholic, and my disease took me. So I was in the rooms I went to the rooms when I was 21, and I've been in and out. I'm a bouncer, so I've been in and out of the rooms. And anybody that's in the program is going to understand what I'm saying. And it's a 12-step program. So my disease, the last time I drank, I think it was 8 years ago. I picked up a year after my mother died, so 2015. I literally, Sarah, I was drinking to die. And when I came to the next day, because that's what you do, you come to, I had the same realization that you did, like, oh my God, if I would have really done that, I would have hurt the people that loved me the most. And that After everything else I had experienced, that was my rock bottom. You know, I had been arrested, the paddy wagons, name it, I've done it. It was just fascinating how quickly where our disease will take us. I don't think people talk about that often. Some of us drink and drug without wanting, not consciously thinking like, oh, I want to kill myself, but taking ourselves there.
It is. And thank you for sharing your story too, because everyone that shares a story sheds a little light on someone else that's looking for just that one sentence or that one word that will push them to that realization that, you know, they could do it, so could I. I actually been there so many times. It's awful sometimes. I try not to think about it too much, but I also embrace that it happened because I've come really far in the last 5 years. It escalates quickly.
Alcoholism and drug addiction that no one really talks about. And we should, because until it happened to me, because I was just always drinking and then I'd fuck up and I'd be like, well, I'm charming enough. I could get my way out of it, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I was bouncing. There was never any rock bottom. And I was cocky enough in my disease to actually believe that I didn't have one. I mean, it's so ridiculous now, but that's who I am when I'm in my disease. And the fact that I'm down at the bar, and of all places, the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Greg had a gig there. I'm downstairs drinking, and my 16-year-old daughter was up in the room, and I'm drinking to fucking die at the bar. That's what I'm doing. And I'm conscious. Man. I'm conscious that, fuck it, I'm going to die. The moment it hit my lips, I mean, it was over. And it had happened a couple of times before because I wasn't an everyday drinker. I was more of a, once every 6 months binger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I wasn't a social drinker. The first couple of times that I was drinking consciously to die, I thought it was just a fluke until the last time I picked up. And I've been completely relieved of the addiction. What's that going to look like? I drink myself to death. What am I going to do to my daughters? But people don't talk about that part of our disease. And I wish they would. I thought I was unique and that I was the only one that felt that way. Until someone recently I know committed suicide, drunk.
It's horrible. It takes so many lives. And a lot of those lives, when the friends or family go, oh yeah, they were suffering. It's like, bystanders to like let them open up and let them feel safe to talk about it. The way you were with alcohol is completely different from how my relationship was with alcohol. It was a daily thing. Everything revolved around alcohol. Is there alcohol going to be there? Can I bring alcohol? Or I'm already drunk, or I'm hungover. It's everything was like just the foundation of my life was alcohol. I lost the trust of my son. Even though I was showing up to work on time, it didn't matter. And I made these excuses that I had my stuff together because I was going to the gym still, but I was swinging a sip of vodka before I walked in there. It's like, who does that? I'm going to get through this workout.
Oh my God, you were drinking and working out? I'm sorry, I don't need to laugh.
I had to. I was so hungover.
Oh, when I was hungover, I wasn't moving for weeks. I just ruined that.
There was no escape.
Moving on to something lighter. Have you ever been, were you an actress ever?
No.
The reason why I asked is because Thunder, that was brilliant. I love portrait shots, right? But I love the portrait shots where you're just singing straight into the lens there. I thought that was just brilliant. So I was like, oh, I wonder if she's an actress.
That's really awesome to say that because I did that video at my house. I put a black tapestry backwards so it was just solid and was sitting on my floor spraying myself with water.
Wow.
And I just did one take until I got it. And then I added the little effects on the app and just put the music to it on iMovie. And it was like, something I accomplished myself, which was crazy because originally I was shooting a music video for that on the airport, on Mammoth Airport's runway. And they let me shoot there for a short amount of time in between flights. And it was right before winter hit. So I didn't get all the shots that I needed. And like the next week it dumped down snow. So I was like, okay, well, this is going to make me figure out how to do it on my own. If only you could have seen the process.
That's what Tawny Katane did in that famous Whitesnake video. Remember that where she's got all the mist coming down from her? She was spraying that on herself. Or she had someone spraying them. Yeah, I mean, hey, DIY. And if you didn't tell me behind that magic, I would never know. Oh, now the magic is dispelled. So, how long have you been playing guitar?
Well, I started playing drums first. My dad's a drummer and
Oh,
my brother's a drummer.
fascinating.
And so drums are like my jam.
Okay.
And then I always like picked up the guitar and was like really like people were talking all around me. I'm like, shh, I'm trying to figure this out. And I always wanted to play guitar, but I didn't really start playing until I was like 17. Okay. So we won't say how long ago that was, but
well, can I tell you something? Here's a little secret. When you get into your mid 50s, you're all about telling people your age because you don't give a fuck anymore. It's so great. 40s is like relaxing to the wisdom. Then you get to your 50s, you're like,
yeah.
So, okay, so I get you're probably
I'm getting there. I'm
you're probably
there.
in your 30s. So, so what kind of guitar do you play?
So I ordered it without even playing it first. And I just knew, like, I knew that was my guitar. It weighs only 6 pounds. Wow. Beautifully made. Mm-hmm. I already had a Ernie Ball Sterling bass, and I just knew that I love the tone. They make such good quality instruments. So it took 6 months to get in the mail. It arrived the week that I was in the studio tracking all the songs for my record, No Turning Back, on my birthday. So it was like, it came in the mail, like, the angels delivered it. The light was shining when I opened up the thing, and I was like, oh, I shed a tear. It was magical. Oh, that was the first music video that I like debuted my guitar. It was pretty awesome. So
you play acoustic and electric?
I do, yeah. I play bass That's too. Awesome. I haven't really picked up the bass much, but I used to write a lot of songs with the bass. Mm-hmm. When I used to be in bands with like all girl bands, I always ended up playing bass, backup vocals, but I haven't picked it up. Maybe this will inspire me to do that. I'm just
curious. This might be kind of a corny question, but I'm curious about it. When you are writing, is it like they do it in Nashville where it's, okay, Sarah, it's 3:00. You got to get in the writing group now. Oh. Or are you just very organic and it's like it comes to you?
Anytime I go to sit down, I could essentially write a song. I feel like that's my power, like my music power is writing songs. So maybe they're just songs that my style would perform, but I try to just sit down and play, like just to keep up with my chops, but the wave comes and goes. Like the wave will come and I'm like, oh, here it is. And I recognize it. So I sit down and embrace it. And then other times it gets like a little dormant, I guess you could say. And I embrace that too. Cause I'm like, okay, this is always like happens and then it rests and then it hibernates and then it comes to life. And sometimes it's just one after the other. I'll sit down and write something else will come out. So I've got, my Logic up on my computer doing one song and then I'll find a guitar tone that I like. And I got my phone recording a different song that I'm going to get to afterwards. So just all depends. Like Fight for My Life. Right. That song came after I got the news that my friend, passed away, and it's still very untalked about with exactly what happened, but I know that she lost the battle basically. And so I just sat down and I was lighting some candles. That really hit me hard, that particular friend, because we used to have the dark conversations about how easy it would be to just drink this away and, the depression. And we both thought our addiction was so heavy and so special that that's the path we were supposed to take. Like we were supposed to go into that darkness. And so when that hit, when I got that news, it really hit me because I'm like, man, it could have been me. And a part of me felt like it died with her in that moment. And I just sat down and I wrote the whole thing with the guitar and the vocals. And I immediately recorded it. And it was like a process of like an hour. And then I said that to my producer. I was like, hey, I really, really would like to get this song out. So we ended up doing it.
Wow. And it's such a great song. That's your most recent song.
Yeah, that's off my acoustic record, which I have not released yet, but it's one of my last 3 songs, that I released.
Yes. Yeah, it is a beautiful song, and I knew immediately that it was about addiction. But that's probably because that's what I suffer from. And I can get addicted to anything. Right now I'm addicted to, I was addicted to food there for a good 6 months, and I put on 10 pounds. So
It's the addictive. It's the
But
addictive personality we have. We get on this thing, and it's like, hopefully, well, it's a
yep.
good thing now. Like I'm addicted to eating healthy and you know trying to ride that wave
Hmm.
and see see where it takes me.
Well, it's either for me, I'm a foodie. I love a good meal and then or shopping. And like I tell Greg, I'm like, well, I'm not going to get no one, the police aren't going to pull me over because I've got a bunch of, shopping bags or I'm not going to get, you know, I'm not going to break our daughter's hearts because I'm having a glorious meal here times three or whatever I'm doing. In Vegas, I go crazy. Vegas is people are gambling or drinking or whatever, and I'm just the exact opposite. I'm going to breakfast, rolling to some shop, rolling back out of that shop to eat again. It's just a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to break my kids' hearts. So, speaking of fashion and clothing and shopping, something that I really was drawn to with your visuals, your videos, was your costumes. Can you share a little bit about that process and who's the designer on? I think it's the No Turning Back video. It's all like I know her name
Yeah,
and I can't think of it right.
she's from Peep Show Clothing. I saw Nita was wearing some of her stuff and I messaged her about it because we have a lot of similar taste in like functional, cute stuff you can move around where you don't have to keep constantly adjusting it. And she's like, oh yeah, she's great. Hit her up. So I did, and the first outfit that I bought from her was the full body suit for my first
Mm-hmm.
music video that I did, and it just felt so great. I was like, oh, I feel like $1,000,000 in this. I had it on all day. It was super comfortable. It was like the most probably expensive costume that I've ever purchased. So that felt like I just felt like super, I was walking with a confidence that, my first music video. I didn't want to take it off.
You look
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Oh my God, you look so hot.
Thank you. When I went and did the No Turning Back video, I knew that vibe I wanted to translate with that, that whole look and,
Mm-hmm.
the Mad Max kind of tribal, but
Yes.
still rock and roll and not too much, but just comfortable. I like to be comfortable too, and something that I
Mm-hmm.
could wear again. And I just told her what the vibe was, and she sent me this drawing back, and she nailed it the first time. She's amazing.
How important are costumes to you?
Over the years, it's changed a lot. I would say it's important, but I haven't spent a lot of money when I do. I buy costumes from people that I know personally that make clothes to support their small business. And then also, I feel like it connects their art with my art. So it feels special, when I put something on that somebody made specifically for me, knowing that my money went to their life and and their dreams. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole energy exchange when I'm buying clothes for my friends, supporting them. Before, I used to have closets full of clothes, and recently I've been like getting rid of stuff, or I would buy stuff like, oh, one day I'm going to do a photo shoot in this, or one day I'm going to do a music video in this. I tried to stop doing that because I was just collecting so many clothes that now I'm just like, okay, I am going to wear this. And I can wear this again with something else and mix it up. My grandma also, she made clothes. She designed clothes, and I have a lot of her
Mm-hmm.
pieces that she's made, and I wear some of them in some of the videos. And that obviously that feels really special because I feel connected to her and her
Mm.
fashion, and I feel like I'm carrying out her legacy, but through my music. So that's really special, and it just reminds me of like going to her house, and she used to be like, "Oh, this would fit you," and so fashion makes me feel special for certain moments. Living in the mountains, I'm very functional. Like if I want to go fishing while I'm out, I don't want to have to go home and change. Or if I want to go hiking and go get lunch all in the same, I try to wear clothes that like match any environment where I'm at.
I was giggling when you said about keeping a bunch of clothes. Because I hoard clothes, and then I had this moment where I was like, I got to get rid of all these clothes. That was when I was Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. And she writes in her book that the artist will feel that time to purge is when they're going to be they feel a creative
Ooh,
urge coming on,
okay.
which is why they're purging,
To
urge,
make
purge.
room.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah,
To make
yeah, it
room
makes
for it.
sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish I was there when you were getting rid of your stuff in your closet. Man.
I wanted to say something about you that was a nice compliment that you had made about me. And so I'm very thankful for that. But something that I noticed about you when I first met you, first of all, we're friends through Nita Strauss, to drop a name. Let me pick up her
Yep,
name.
let me pick it up. Hold on. She's on my record. Hold on, let me pick that up.
And, you two ladies you're both kind of the same in that you check your looks at the door and you both let your talent speak for itself. And I thought that was just such a wonderful that I noticed about you, specifically since we're talking about you, is that you do check your looks at the door. Women, it's almost like we have to use that as a way to navigate, but if you're talented and confident in that, then maybe we don't. And certainly I felt that about you. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I think that your music is just, I don't want to sound like I'm gassing you, but it's very important that people kind of hear that, because they need to hear from a feminine voice things that aren't necessarily the things that people want to talk about. Like, people don't feel comfortable talking about addiction or suicide, and you do. And so I'm very grateful for that. And you do it in such a really great way, in that you're conscious of imagery, looks, and the costumes. And I just feel like I'm so grateful to experience your music and then know you also.
Oh, well,
So
thank you so much. I wanted to say I had this thought about addiction last week, because I am still a bartender. I am in a bar 4 days a week. I see myself in all of these people in different ways. And what I've realized is that addiction and alcohol, it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, what you dress, what you look like. It will take you at any level you're at in your life, and it will take you to the same place. It's just different roads to get there. And some are shorter, some are longer, some are long-term suicide, I would like to call it. But if there's anybody watching right now, all it takes is to just say, you know what, I can agree with this so much. And if you can relate with somebody that's admitting their addiction or alcoholism or drug use, then maybe that's an opportunity for you to get some help and reach out before you have to hit that rock bottom. Like so many of us have. I mean, when there is life, there's hope. That's what my dad tells me. So, I'm just honored to share my story and maybe inspire somebody else to stay sober or get sober.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're sober. We're sober sisters now.
Yeah, we are. And
all the cool chicks are sober. So where can people find you? I know that you're on Apple Music, right?
Yep, I'm on Spotify, Pandora, Apple, and I have a YouTube channel with all my music videos. And I've been kind of quiet lately with my music, but I am writing a lot right now. I have 2 different records that I'm working on. One electronic, it's more like Massive Attack, kind of earthy vibe. And then I have some new rock stuff that I'm doing that I really look forward to getting in the studio and bringing to life.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, friends, you know where you can find Sarah. I strongly suggest you do. Start at YouTube, because the videos are just absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, baby doll.
Thank you for having me.